Hi, I'm Paul from the British English Hub. How are you? Hope everyone's well. Today I'm going to talk about writing skills. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll see that I've basically spoken about paragraph structure and sentence construction. So if you tune into those, you'll see exactly what I'm referring to. Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about organising a paragraph, something really important if you're a student taking either English for academic purposes, IELTS, possibly Cambridge, or general English, more advanced level. So it's going to be useful for that. Also, you can, they're transferable skills. You can apply it to other writing situations. And I want to explain how easy it is to construct a paragraph, and it is not a complicated process. So here we are, how to build a strong paragraph. That's what we're going to be focusing on today. Remember, it's not so complicated. There are some rules you need to abide to. These rules are really sort of divided into 4 categories. And think about a triangle. And if you turn the triangle upside down, the base would be at the top and the point would be at the bottom. And the base will represent the broader point. And as you go down to meet the tip, you're going to get more and more specific. And that's exactly how an academic paragraph should really be created. And basically, if you abide to this rule, you will be able to write paragraphs no matter how complex the topic is. It's a basic theory and really applicable to most situations, most scenarios in a writing context. So let's move on. There are 4 simple structures or steps. And firstly, we talk about topic sentences. That's the very broad point. I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in a bit. Paragraphs should always stay with the main topic or the topic sentence, which is linked to the title of the essay. So if I have a title, then the topic sentence should always be connected to that title. And it's the most important part, and basically everything has got to adhere to this topic sentence. You can't change topic, you can't change subtopic. If you want to change subtopic, then start a new paragraph. Everything must be connected to this particular topic sentence, which is the first sentence of each paragraph. And I'll talk about that again in a little bit more detail in a bit. Then we've got the support, and then which is an extension to the topic. Then we've got an explanation. I spoke about explanations last time in a video I did several weeks ago when I talked about adding linkers such as because of, due to, the reason for this is, owing to, those types of linkers that really allow you to explain something. And explanations are really important in academia. If you don't explain, there's no argument. As simple as that. And then finally, examples. And again, I spoke about examples in that previous video, how important they are, how significant they are. They really elucidate your argument. They clarify what you're trying to say. I mean, again, it's something that should be taken for granted when you write an essay. Always provide an example. And I'll talk about that in more detail in a bit as well. So let's move on to the topic sentence first of all, introducing the main idea. The topic sentence is basically the base of that triangle. Remember, it's upside down. It's the general idea. Every paragraph should begin with a topic sentence, just introducing the subtopic to the reader in a broader sense. It's really important to include it. Lots of students don't, in my experience. They have no topic sentence, and I end up thinking to myself, what is this paragraph trying to explain? What's the focus of it? It's not really making any sense. And you know, it's like the glue to the paragraph. It really is important. Make sure you always add a topic sentence. It's just a general point. I've got an example here. So social media. Now, social media can be a really, really, really generalized topic. It's broad. There's so many aspects to social media. There's so many arguments. It's countless arguments. So I've chosen one particular argument here. Social media can negatively affect young people. Okay, why is that topic sentence good? Introduce the topic. Absolutely. We now are clear about what I'm trying to argue. Gives a clear opinion. The word negatively affects. Now, it's always a good day on the topic of opinion. It's always a good idea to have a balanced argument when you when you write an essay, and it's really important to actually you know, sort of create sort of positive and negative points, benefits and pitfalls about a particular topic, and yeah, it makes it balanced, and it's always good to have counter arguments there. It strengthens your original arguments, prepares the reader for the next sentence. Exactly. I mean, a paragraph is a thread of ideas. It literally, one idea leads on to the next, and it's got to have this sort of sense of moving towards an argument. As I mentioned before, all those arguments must be connected to the same subtopic and the same argument. Okay, so next one. So supporting points. What are supporting points? That's a fantastic question. Supporting points is just extra information. It's a sort of, you know, you add into that topic sentence, because the topic sentence is broad. The supporting point, you know, you add more information. It's all it is. And again, the concern is that teenagers spend too much time online. So that's your added point. Now, remember, in this particular video, I'm talking about the basics of structuring a paragraph. I'm not talking about content. It's up to you to provide content. You, the students, need to elaborate on that point a little bit, add some more sentences to make it a little bit more robust. I'm just giving you a sense of structure, which is why my sentences are so short. I mean, obviously, you would have to add to that or develop those. So basically, the teenagers spending too much time online. It's a good argument. Basically it's a fair argument. There are arguments that are supporting that are opposing that. For example, now I've mentioned at the bottom useful supporting phrases or exponents. Now it's good to vary these. One concern is that, one issue is that, one problem is that, a major drawback is, or major setback is. You can vary them. If you use the same one constantly, it doesn't bode well with your overall style. It just makes it a little bit repetitive. So try and vary linkers, try and vary these support exponents or support phrases. It's really, really important. So it's just adding extra information, the support. Then we move to the explanation. I talked about these in a little bit more detail in a previous video. I gave you a kind of selection of linkers that would help you do so. And the link I've chosen here is the reason for this is, I could do due to if you want. I could use other linkers, suitable linkers really. An explanation is really, really important. It basically adds spice to your topic sentence. It's, if you say something, you've got to explain something. You've got to explain why, to what extent, why is this happening. The reason for this is that social media platforms are designed to keep users engaged. Now, this is basically pinning the blame on the actual platform itself. That, you know, there's kind of ingredients within that platform that attract users, for example. That's one. There are other arguments as well. There's a whole compendium of other arguments you could use. That's just one. Maybe you can use another argument in another paragraph. So useful explanation phrases. The reason for this is that this happens because one explanation is that due to this, there are so many you can use, so try to vary them, but please add an explanation here. Really, really important. If you don't include an explanation, then the reader's going to think, well, so what's the point of saying that young people use social media too much? There's got to be kind of a reason. You've got to build an argument into this particular paragraph. It's really, really important. So here's your argument. And then that follows up with an example. Examples, again, elucidate your point. Sometimes, you know, a point can be a little bit convoluted, a little bit complex. An example will clarify that. I mean, same thing in everyday situations. If someone explains to you a theory or something, it might be a little bit challenging to understand it. So the most apt thing to do is just say, "Can you give me an example?" And normally they give an example and it clarifies the point. And again, useful example phrases. For example, for instance, to illustrate, a good example of this is. Again, you can vary these, such as is another feasible phrase or exponent you can include. And I mean, it's one thing I always say to my students, please, please, please follow up with an example for each paragraph. It's really important. And again, it's got to be cited, or if it's an academic essay, it's got to be cited. There's got to be a source, and it supports your argument. That's what it does. It gives support to your argument. So it's really, really important to add examples. If you're doing any written assignment, it's really important to think about that. Complete paragraph, here we are. This is it. Glued together, all the different parts in color code. So social media can negatively affect young people. That's your topic sentence. Then you've got your additional point. One concern is that teenagers spend too much time online. So the triangle is now, we're edging down towards the tip. The reason for this is that social media platforms are designed to keep users engaged. Again, that's your reasoning or explanation. And then your example, for example, many teenagers spend several hours per day scrolling through content. And again, that's your tip of your triangle. And that makes sense. Everything is connected. Everything follows on from the previous point. It's a very tight paragraph. And again, as a student, you'll be expected to elaborate on each part of this paragraph. I mean, I'm just, as I said before, I'm just talking about the overall structure. So I'm giving you simple examples. It's up to you to develop that content yourself. Again, this is just an overview of what I've said in this video. It's simple. Again, ideal for IELTS, English for academic purposes, Cambridge general academic writing students as well, and also general English students, you know, high level. So, thank you very much for watching. Please, please, please subscribe to the channel. We need your support. It's really, really important. Also, please, please smash a like down below, and please, please write a comment. We really take your feedback seriously. It helps us improve future videos. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.